It's
This
titled
conference will now be
High
recorded.
Output Trackside Drainage Remediation. I'll now pass you over to Lynda, who will start the presentation whenever you're ready, Lynda. Thank you.
That's lovely. Thanks ever so much, Greg, and thanks for the opportunity of presenting to you for this evening. So yeah, as you mentioned, this evening we're talking about our drain train trackside drainage. And just to tell you a little bit about the machines that we've already got and how the future looks to us as well. So our drain train, it offers a full range of jetting and cleaning assets survey, and that includes CCTV and waste management services as well. It's a total solution to trackside drainage by using a high-powered drain jetting system, and it's capable of collecting both wet and semi-dry materials. So it includes ballast, bricks, silt, and compacted sewage, and many other materials that you do tend to find down the drains as well. It also provides a facility for delivering new and replacement materials to the trackside. The drain train, it's all self-propelled to, from and within the work site, so there's no requirement in there for additional and expensive locos to pull the drain train. So the benefits of this, it's got high carrying capacity, and it's got the power to excavate materials from the catch pits. It comes with its own skilled, experienced crew, and its ability to take possession around the machine, so no requirement for road rail access to be constructed, and of course the wraps as well that are involved in that. Also as well, post shift, you'll be sent a report directly to the customer to identify the work that's been undertaken and areas which need remediation. And in this report, it tells you the full yardage, full mileage yardage, full photographs of anything that's the state of the drains basically before and after. So a little bit about our drainage offering. They can help customers and reduce the risk of landslips and derailments by efficiently treating and improving the drainage. And the drain train has changed the way trackside drainage has been treated across Scotland and England, delivering huge efficiencies and safety improvements. It's been successful in delivering significant improvements to Network Rail's infrastructure. And again, as mentioned, a detailed report from each job is sent to the customer after each shift to give you a full visibility of how that shift has looked. So why drainage? We need drainage to stabilise the track support system. It removes any trapped water within the ballast. It minimises softening of track bed. The control of water ensures safe and economic management. It eliminates temporary speed restrictions or closures, and it reduces the volume or the cost and the maintenance of the track support system. And as previously mentioned as well, the prevention of landslips and track flooding. So a little bit about the drain train capabilities and the benefits. 5 times more efficient than conventional methods. It's got high carrying capacity, and we'll come to that a little bit later, a little bit more on the statistics of the train itself. Financially, it removes the need for an expensive loco to haul it. As far as safety is concerned, it's safer operations, less labour, so there's fewer people in and around the plant. The human interaction reducing the risks as well. The 9-inch diameter suction hose and strong air mover to excavate materials from the catch pit. It comes with its own dedicated and fully trained team with expert experience, and it's fully environmentally compliant, and it's able to take possession around the machine, so no requirement for road rail access to be constructed. So a little bit about the actual statistics on the train. So hopefully you can see this text because it may be coming up quite small, but you will be able to see this on the PWI website afterwards. So this is just comparing the drain train to alternative methods of providing track drainage. And so the drain train can do 8 to 30 catch pits per shift, as opposed to alternative methods, which can maybe only do 3 to 4 catch pits per shift. And gang clearance itself, minimum capacity, so manual digging. The drain train is capable of drainage within the 4 foot, whereas the Madvax, it's got restricted access and the wrap access is required. And the gang clearance, you're unable to get any jet or vacuum, so it's not really viable. The drain train, it doesn't require a wrap, whereas the Madvax is vacuum only, and the gang clearance, it's significant. It's got its own significant safety risks. And the drain train, it's a full service jetting, cleaning, asset survey, CCTV, and waste management. The Madvax, that can't jet pipes. And the gang clearance, of course, it just utilises shovels and rodding to clear catch pits and pipe work, and it's all the manual labour that's involved as well. So, you know, take the old adage of let the drain train take the strain. A little bit about an up-to-date spot hire there. The 2021 spot hire rate at the moment is currently 14,699, and that's the total spot hire rate for the machine and gang. So capacity-wise, so the maximum debris capacity in there in litres is 20,000 litres. And then we've got maximum water capacity in litres is 23,000 litres. The suction air rate is at 3,700, and the water jetting pressure, and that's in PSI, is 2,320, so fairly strong. Water jetting capacity, gallons per minute, is 52. And the water jetting rate is litres per minute is 226. And the jet hose reel length in metres is 100 metres, so it's an ability to get way beyond the train as well. The power unit is a Volvo 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel 340. Now the speed in traffic miles per hour, we've got in there 45 miles an hour. We do actually have one train that just does 40 miles an hour, and then we've got another train which does 45 miles an hour. And this sits in the W6 gauge. So a little bit about, we've done a little bit on the before and after as well, and I've got a lot of photographs of before and after, because I just think that these speak volumes really as to where we are. So this first one here is looking at what we were faced with when we actually arrived on track. Taken quite a lot of moving, and the third photograph there is how the actual solution looked at the end. And this was in Belgrove Tunnel in Glasgow, so quite local to you, and it's delivering a piece of drainage work. Before the delivery, the catch pits were full of ballast, silt, and weeds, and all sorts of what. And soon after the train had been set to work, the catch pits become clear. And then this is a recent one from, I think it was either this last weekend or the weekend before.
It was this weekend.
Was it, Brian? Yeah.
I don't know why it says week 12, because it was this weekend. I think it was Wimbledon we were at, wasn't it, Neil?
Yeah, it was, yeah, Wimbledon, yeah.
So as you can see in here, I mean, it's covered with moss, silt, soil. Generally, there's some spare ballast in there as well. So there's all sorts in there. And basically, a little bit about, this is what it looked like afterwards. So you wouldn't really recognise it. And it's taken everything out of there, left it nice and clear and free-flowing. And again, this is before, this is, again, is the from about 3 weeks ago, if I remember rightly. Yeah. Yeah, that one in there is well, it becomes a little bit more obvious as to what that black box is with the holes in it once we've actually taken out all of the silt and the dirt and the green stuff. But yeah, it was a bit of an unusual find anyway. But yes. So yeah, once we'd actually cleared the drain out and cleared all the silt out, we found a microwave on there. Yeah, we do find some obscure items in there. So moving on as well, we're not just stopping with the 2 drain trains. We are recognising that the world is changing. We will see more flooding in the future. There will be a greater need for more drainage in the railways to really clean out the infrastructure that we've got so far. So we are looking at drain train 3. This is currently in design, so it's still not completely brought to fruition, but it is in the design stage. Now we're looking at a very upgraded model, and we're looking at a maximum travelling speed of 60 miles per hour, whereas we're currently, Drain Train 1 is 40 miles per hour and Drain Train 2 is 45 miles per hour. So it's
Lynda, can I just jump in there, please? Sorry, darling.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in? Drain Train 2 is actually 60 miles an hour now. It's got the DTSs fitted to it now, so apologies.
No, it's okay. Thank you. It's also taken on the industry-leading drain cleaning plant that recycles dirty water from a slurry tank to permit legal disposal of grey water back into the trackside drains. This permits transport of less clean water and reduces the operational costs. Of course, the machine is going to be a lot lighter. So there'll be little or no clean water to be purchased, and drier waste is cheaper to dispose of, less space requirement for water storage. So the new Drain Train is going to be operable over the end of the vehicle to enable use in the tunnels as well. And it's going to have remote control of all functions within 25 metres to reduce the risk of staff from trailing leads. It also just reduces the staff interaction just in general. So again, the locomotive that we're looking at actually using to pull the train, it's a Class 20 locomotive hybrid conversion. Initial discussions, we're still in the initial discussion side, are underway with the battery conversion specialist to convert 2 Class 20 locomotives to hybrid system as traction for the Drain Train. The conversion option is likely to be the most effective sustainable option for all the suppliers in the tender. Converting Class 20 locos compared to purchasing equipment traction units would see a large reduction in the embodied emissions, as well as reduce the emissions throughout the converted asset's life as well. And that's probably telling you everything about it. It's giving you a really good overview of the Drain Train, its capabilities, what it can do. There's two gentlemen on the call today, Brian and Neil, who can probably, these are the guys that work with it trackside as well, so they can tell you an awful lot more about capabilities and how it works on site. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynda. That was great. If you don't mind, we could just run through some of the questions then on the chat, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll just start off. One from Tom Wilson's asking, does the level of noise generated by the strong air mover require staff to wear ear protection, similar perhaps to that used by ballast cleaner crew?
No, it doesn't. It's nowhere near as loud as what the ballast cleaner is. I have seen the ballast cleaner in operation many, many times. The Drain Train, there's the engine revs, which are no louder than any other piece of kit that's on the thing, and then it's just a suction hose and a jetty nose. A jetty nose is just like a hose pipe, but obviously a lot more powerful. And the suction hose is low when you're picking bricks and anything else that's solid like that, but normal waste and everything, you'd be really surprised as to how quiet it is again. But when you pick a brick up and it goes rattling around a metal pipe, you can imagine how. But it's like, well, again, it's not. You can hear yourself talk. You can talk to supervisor or whoever's on site while it's actually doing that. So it's nothing you need to think, oh, we need ear protection here. We have got, and Darren Lockhart, so as our engineering manager, he has got all that information of noise decibels and everything while it's been in works, and we can, if anybody requires that, we can send it to you, no problem.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Brian.
Plus, guys, we use DECCOMs, so that's a form of ear protection.
I forgot.
So the DECCOM kind of helps as well, you know.
Yep, sure. All right. On a similar note from Tom, he's asking, does the level of noise generated by the machine require neighbour notification letters to be issued in advance of the works?
Again, we haven't done that. Yeah, sorry, Brian.
Go on, sorry, Neil. No, go on. It's fine, mate.
No, we don't do that. No, we haven't had any complaints about noise If we are in a very large built-up area, Network Rail have sent them out in the past, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I can think of a few areas in particular in Glasgow where and it would be handy to put the noise letter out beforehand.
Yeah.
Well,
Again, go on, sorry
yeah.
again, mate. I know we keep jumping in. Sorry.
In Glasgow, all our work in Glasgow is mostly in the tunnels, you know, in our rail lines and up the top of Glasgow. And we're quite lucky because where there was noise levels, we were way out in the middle of the country, really, you know.
Okay, yeah, yeah, excellent. We've got a question here from Angus McGregor. 23,000 litres water capacity, is that jetting water consumed during the exercise which becomes storage capacity for waste after jetting?
That's the reservoir tank for the jetting operation, yeah. And the 20,000 litres is the waste tank for the getting sucked out the catch pits.
Right, okay, excellent. Another one from Tom, he's asking, does the internal shape of the machine tank facilitate and encourage silt settlement and allow recovery reuse of the water by the machine?
No. No, we don't. As in recycling the water.
I think that's what Tom means, unless he wants to add to that himself. Tom?
That was exactly it, just to see if you were on site, on shift, recycling the water after it's done its work.
No, we don't. We get a lorry in during the day, and that does a liquid decant off the machine. You do that every morning and replenish the fresh water, and then you open the tank up and discharge the solids into a skip. Now, if it's clean water on site, you can do a liquid decant on site into the outfall. If not, we can get a lorry in to take the dirty water off the tank.
If we have big possessions like on a weekend or anything, and we require replenishing the water, we'll do a site survey before. It'll either be Neil or myself or any of the other guys because they're all experienced. They'll do a site survey and find a sidings or just a roadway where we could get access, and we'll plan it in the staging process. Right, we're going to empty this minute, we're going to use this much water on up to here, then we'll have to take the machine up to said point. The lorry will be there waiting for us. We'll do a liquid decant in there. He'll take away the dirty water and replenish the fresh.
Yeah.
So that usually takes us around about 45 minutes to get there, empty it, refill it, and off we go again. But again, that's only when you've got a big possession. Mostly we don't use a full tank of water on a short shift.
Yeah.
On a midweek shift, you won't need a lorry, and you'll struggle to fill that up midweek.
Unless you're doing Belgrove from the photographs.
Spend some time in there, mate.
Belgrove and Charing Cross were very, very bad. I think we took out of Charing Cross Tunnel, it was something like, let me get this right, 45, 50 ton out of the 3 foot trench that governs the 6 foot that goes from one end of the tunnel to the other. It was something like 45, 50, 60 ton, which is a lot of material.
Yeah.
What I would say as well, Greg, on that one, because we did it this year, but the year before we had to do it then as well. So it does pick some. How can I put this? Some crap up. Sorry, but it does. In them tunnels. Yes.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And it just shows that to say you do it once, you need to go in again and keep doing these things.
Yeah,
but that's not unusual because Scotland, as well as down here, we have to go to the same place. We go to Wimbledon 4 times a year.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, excellent. Okay, Just got another one here from Russell Kimber, who's asking, what is the axle loading or route availability of the loaded train?
That sounds more like an engineering issue. I can get you that information off Darren. I wouldn't like to guess because it's not my expertise, if I'm honest.
Sure.
So I will, if you do really need to, I will get that information for you. No problem.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. So Angus wants to know, please describe where waste solids are disposed and treatment arrangements. You maybe touched on that earlier, but just to
That's taken off the train every morning. We do a liquid decant, obviously, in the morning to get the liquid out the waste tank first before we open the door. Because if you don't do that, obviously, you get the mess. So we do the liquid decant, and the solids are disposed of off the train into a skip, and that's taken away to a specialised tip.
Yeah, we use specialised waste companies for that.
Yeah, for contaminated waste, yeah.
Sure, yeah. Okay, Jack Scott is asking, many years ago in the mid-80s, we used a drain train in Glasgow Central low-level tunnels. These are due to be closed early next year for work for a few months. Are there any plans to clean those drains again whilst it's closed?
Well, Greg, all I can say to that one, if you want us in there, we'll go and clean it for you, mate. Absolutely. If you want it doing, we'll do it.
There.
Greg, is that the Argyle lines? No.
It would be on low level, yeah.
Right, so that's from likes of Rutherglen right into past Central, out to Exhibition.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Right, because we've been in there numerous of times, you know, and we've done that for the past 3 years.
Previous, yeah.
In fact, it's looking quite good now. Every time we go back now, you can see the improvement from the last time we've been in there.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, there was a time a good few years ago when that completely blocked and the water level was up to platform height right through there.
Right. That was in Dalmarnock where that big, I think there's a pump station in the middle of the platform.
Right.
Yeah, they got that going last year, didn't you, Neil?
Well, we never knew. The last twice we were in there, we thought it was a 4-inch channel that feeds the 6-inch drain that feeds the pump, that there was a problem. So we cleared all the channels and it was still blocking up. And we found a manhole cover on the platform, on the actual platform itself, and we lifted it up, and it was unbelievable what was in there. I mean, there was tons and tons of mud, and it took us, I think it was a shift and a half to clear that out. And then the water just, it was like a grate, you know, like a grate where you feed, I know this sounds stupid, where you feed cattle. It was a grate like that, and it was full of grass, it was full of weeds, it was full of everything, mud. We cleaned it out, and the pump kicked in straight away. The next night, the pump kicked in, and the results were great.
Yeah, Dalmarnock used to suffer from that sort of orange gunk coming out of the walls because it's quite steep walls, just clogged up the drains. Yeah.
Have you had any problems there since we left in September?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Not that I'm aware of. I haven't heard anything, but it would be more people on the maintenance side that would know that kind of detail. But I'm not aware of it.
Because we had heavy rain. I think it was about a fortnight ago, and I was just wondering how it coped.
Yeah.
Since we cleaned it, you know.
I'm sure it must have made a big difference because it used to just clog up pretty bad.
Oh, it made a massive difference once that pump kicked in. It just disappeared. It was like magic.
It was halfway up the wall.
Okay, I'll get another one here from Angus again. He wants to know, can you describe the makeup of the train, e.g. the loco and whatever carriages, parts that make up the train?
It's got an engine each end, so I'll go with Drain Train 2 because that's the one that we use mainly in Scotland. We've got a DTS each end, and then you've got a reservoir tank in the middle that feeds the jetting system. That is moved to the jetting system from the reservoir by a transfer pump. and that goes into another mod 1, and it's got a sight glass on it, and it's got sensors, and it keeps it full all the time, so you never run out of fresh water. And then you've got the jetting system on that platform that obviously cleans the drains. The next wagon, you've got the suction. You've got all the suction pipes and everything there for cleaning out the catch pits on that wagon. So it's basically the two wagons in the middle, the suction, the jetting, and the two engines each side. That's the makeup of the train.
Thank you.
And it can work on either side as well. Where you look at that picture and you see the guys holding the hose. If the catch pits were on the other side, there's no need to move the train. It will swing to the other side, and so will the hosing as well. That works from either side.
Brilliant. Yep.
It just swings over the top, Brian. That
It lifts up and swings and tilts as well. And there's dozens of attachments for length and everything as well, for size of pipes and lengths. And there's a flexi hose what can go in rather than a solid steel one, so you can get into the corners of the pits and everything.
Yeah, I've seen us working. I've seen us working right over onto the cess at the other side of the machine with the flexi hoses. It's not ideal, but it's a get out of jail card, you know.
I take it, probably a daft question, I take it has to run under an isolation if it's on electrified lines?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, mate.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Just move on to Jim's question. He's asking, can the drain train double as a vacuum excavator to, say, excavate grips or to locally excavate to enable drain remediation? I think that should be.
I wouldn't use it for that. No, it's not ideal to do stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking about digging out, excavating the ground to lay a drain in, yeah.
I think that's what Jim was getting at, more like the ballast excavator. Okay, yeah, okay. So Jason Robertson's asking, what is the maximum length of bagging and hose for suction or jetting?
Well, I think we touched on that one on last thing when we mentioned the flexi hose. There's not really any maximum length, because if we did a survey and the only way again to the pits we're putting an extendable hose on, extendable suction hose on, then we'd order one and we'd get one made, because they're easy to get hold of, and then we can access anywhere. Obviously, your suction will come down a bit if the longer you're reaching, but to answer that question, there's no maximum in that, and the hose itself for jetting is, well, it's in excess of 100 meters anyway.
Okay, yeah. All right, Paul Ebert is asking, what is the length of reach? Could it be used beyond catch pits, i.e. into ditches?
Yeah, again, with what the picture showed earlier, we were doing pits when we were in Scotland in one of the tunnels. We were doing pits on one side, and the ditches on the other side. There were like a ditch on there, and we cleaned all them out as well, and that were inside the tunnel and outside the tunnel, because we moved all them weeds. Can you remember, Neil, what were in the troughing? So yeah, it can do both.
Yeah.
That was up at Winchborough. Is it Winchborough, just outside Edinburgh? Yeah, Winchborough. I think is it Winchborough? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, there's a big cut in there, and then you go into the tunnel.
Yeah,
it's a popular flooding point for many years.
I think that is a big flooding area. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right. I take it, the longer the reach, there's no issues with the suction power or anything like that. It's pretty much the same, is it?
It's very strong. It does. Yeah. The longer you have it, you'd lose a bit, but not enough to write home about. It suck your hair off if you wore a wig.
Right. Worth bearing in mind. Okay. I lost where I was there. So Angus, again, he's asking, can you describe the stabling arrangements and requirements out of possession?
Well, what we do need when we stable out of position, we need a road, like a haul road next to the train, so we can get skips in, fuel in, and the water in, and to do the solid decants. So when we were in Glasgow, we used Brigton sidings.
Right, yeah.
Shettleston was okay, but if we had to turn the train on site and bring it another way around, it caused us kind of a bit of problems decanting. So we asked Network Rail if we could use Brigton all the time when we're in Glasgow, and we never had any problems there. Over at Edinburgh, it was Shettleston. No, it wasn't. It was Slateford.
Yep.
Yeah.
We used Slateford sidings over there because that's got great access as well. And when we were over in Fife, we used Inverkeithing. But you do need a haul road at the side where the train's stable.
Right. Excellent. Yep. Yep.
I
And if
would jump in on that one as well, Neil. When we were at Brigton, absolutely ideal, perfect for us. Nobody ever used
perfect.
the yard. There only was ever in there, and
Yeah.
it was brilliant. It was very spacious. You could go in without any issues and come out without any issues as well.
Yeah.
That's right, because they were going to put us in Rutherglen, but there's a lot of stone blowers going there and various other machines.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brigton was just like two big football pitches and us. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously super handy for Kilmarnock.
Super handy, just round the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. A question there from Russell. I think we've covered that one. Is an OLE isolation required for both vacuuming and jetting? Also, can the unit transit under live OLE?
It can transit under live OLE, but we can't start work and set the machine up under live overheads.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Excellent. Jim Watson's asking, during your works on the Glasgow Falkirk High Tunnel slab tracks, were the slabs jetted as part of the operation?
Yeah, they were jetted. Yeah. In fact, we did the jetting before we did the 6 foot in the Falkirk High Tunnel. It was a 6 foot. Let me think. Let me get this right. I think it was it was like a 3 or 2 foot channel that ran along the 6 foot. So we cleaned the slab first. The debris ran into the 6 foot, and then we cleaned the 6 foot channel.
Excellent. Yep. Another one from Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Tom's asking if a pipe blockage is encountered, do you have CCTV camera or measurement devices like sonars to establish the nature of the blockage?
We don't have the CCTV on our machine, but what a lot of customers do, they have companies coming with us and they attach CCTV to us, which we ain't got a problem with, to be honest. Measurement wise, we'll always measure between one pit to another, and with the power of the jetty nose, you can always tell to the nearest foot probably where the blockage is because you can hear it.
Yeah.
What we usually do is we'll go from one pit, and if it blocks, we'll measure it when we bring the hose out, go to the one at the other side of it and jet back into, and if it blocks at the same place, you know where your blockage is. But as
Sure.
Brian said, you can usually hear it, and if it's a buried catch pit, you can hear it even louder when it's a buried catch pit. You'll know the noises when it's a buried catch pit. You can hear it as if, I mean, it's very clear. But if it's a fractured pipe, you'll hear it very kind of slightly lower, you know.
All right.
So
Yep.
it's.
I think it just comes with experience, doesn't it, Neil? That you know whether it's a catch pit or it's a pipe.
It's hard to explain, yeah, but what the drain train does, it finds the fractures and it also finds buried catch pits. And then we'll get a bar, put the bar through the ballast, and 9 times out of 10 you'll find the lids. Dig round about it, expose it, and clean that out as well. So it's good for finding. It just doesn't clean the drains. It finds the fractures and it finds the buried.
And we do also cover all that with pictures, which Lynda touched on in the presentation. We take pictures of before and after each pit, channel or whatever it may be. But anything that's fractured, Neil will mark it up on the sheet, and we'll tell you mileage of where you've got a fracture in your pipe, so you know when you're coming out, you're not looking for that person, so you know it's there.
Yeah. Great.
Plus, when you draw the waste material out of the drainage system, you usually get that pea gravel. And if you get the pea gravel coming back, you know you've got a fracture in your pipe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Angus is asking, you have discussed repeated visits to the same locations year on year. Does this consume all your availability from what you are? I'm not sure about that last bit, Angus.
I was sorry, what was if you go back to the same location every year on year, but you go other places which don't perhaps get a yearly visit, are the drains doing okay in other locations, and is it only the problem areas that you keep going back to? I suppose that's what I was trying to say.
No, we get told off the customer, whether it be Network Rail or anybody else. They'll say, "Can you come out and do an inspection on these drains, and can you basically fit your drain train in, clean our drains out, let us know what state they're in," and we oblige. To be fair, and that's probably the best answer I can give you, Angus. If they want it doing, we come out and do it.
Another one from Angus. With gauging and axle loads, can the drain train access non-network rail infrastructure such as Newcastle Metro Nexus?
That's more engineering than what I know. I would say it shouldn't be a problem because the drain train doesn't weigh as much as what the metro trains do. I'm saying it doesn't. I don't think it does because of a big long train where we're not. An axle, I don't know what axle load is, to be fair, which is going on to the earlier point, but I can find that out. And I would personally say it could probably do it, but again, you'd need to know them figures.
Sure. Yep.
The Nexus infrastructure is slightly different as well. I think it's slightly lower than the main infrastructure from experience. But if there's any questions at the end that we've not been able to answer, if you want to send them over to me, and I'll get the answers, and then you can put them back into the whoever's asked them.
Yeah, we can speak to Darren, and he's our engineering manager. He'll be able to answer them.
Great. Yep. Excellent. Okay, Jim's asking, are the DTSs currently used as locos still able to function as a DTS?
I don't think they are. No, I think the DTS side of it was taken off it.
And just used currently as locos, weren't they, Neil? The gubbins are still all on the machine, but I don't think they're operational at the moment.
No.
Okay. Another one from Angus. He's asking, is adjacent line open working possible?
It is, but again, that'll be down to site specifics as to how close to the adjacent line would be working.
It has got the lock pin in it to stop it. If you lock it off on the right hand side, obviously it won't go left, and vice versa. But it could work adjacent line, but I don't like doing it. You know what I mean? But it is, you can do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Risk. If there's a full risk assessment carried out, it's in the method statement that it can work ALO. That's probably the best answer.
Yeah. Okay. Tom's asking, at regular servicing, stabling sidings, could you develop borehole water as a source of clean water rather than the less sustainable method of trucks coming backwards and forwards to refill?
That's a hard one. I don't really.
I suppose it depends how contaminated it is because we have filters on the machine. What filter the water as it's coming through?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Jason Robertson's asking, in your experience, roughly what kind of yardage could you achieve on a standard rules of the route possession and isolation? Say an isolation permit time of 1 to 6.
It depends what's in the catch pits. If they're full of ballast, it could take you 10 to 20 minutes to do one catch pit. If it's silt, you'll do it in 2 or 3 minutes.
On that one, if you've got your 5-hour possession there, it roughly, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, it takes us about 15 minutes to set it up and 15 minutes to pack away.
That's right, yeah.
That's what we get it done in that time easily. But that's what we ask for, 15 minutes either side. So you would have 4.5 hours drain cleaning there, or channel cleaning, again, depending on what state they're in, which is nothing you can do until you lift the lids up and have a look inside them.
Yeah.
But I've known us do 10, 12, 14 catch pits in that amount of time, but I've also known us only do 3 or 4. Again, it's all depending on what's in there.
Yep. Okay. The last one I've got at the moment on the chat is Tom's asking, buried catch pit issues, do you reinstate the frame and the lids on top, or simply rebury the lids and replace the frame above the lids?
What we do is Network Rail will bring out, the rings for the catch pits, and we'll put them on the train, and they carry maybe four or five spare catch pit rings and lids.
Yep.
And if we do find a buried catch pit, obviously they take them off the train and build them up.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Another one from Tom there. Site lighting. Does the machine have sufficient lighting around the work area? It's a good photograph to show it there.
I brought a different slide up for you there, because that might just answer that one.
Yeah, it's ample.
There's actually more lights on it now. It's like a bloody Christmas tree now. Yeah. Yeah, there's more lights. There's more lights on it now since that photograph, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, superb.
And there's also a light, isn't there, Neil, on the suction hose on the very top, so we can see how high we're having to lift up and anything, in case you've got overheads above us or whatever. So we can see that quite clearly.
When the suction pipe comes down into the catch pit, it lights the bottom of the catch pit up because there's lights on all the way up the boom, on the frame, on the framework. I mean, it's common sense. It lets you see what you're doing, So yeah.
Sure. Yep. Okay, that was kind of all the questions on the chat. If anyone, feel free to add any more, but what I can do is hopefully unmute all the mics, and if anyone wants to ask, feel free. So I've hit unmute. That just means that you still have to unmute yourself, but you're free to do so if you wish. It should work.
Let me test it. Is it working, Greg?
Yes.
Hi, it's Tom Wilson here. I ask the odd question now and again. Question I ask: development works. So you've got this machine, this train that does that amount of drains. Have you what's your development plans for the machine going forward? How do you see it increasing capacity or developing as another type of machine? Any plans for that?
Do you want to pick that one up, Lynda, with Drain Train 3?
Yeah, Drain Train 3. Capacity-wise, I don't know if that's going to increase. It is still in the design stages, Drain Train 3. But of course, if you're increasing capacity, you're increasing weight as well, and then you start to restrict the areas that you can go into with, as you rightly said, your axle weights. However, what we are looking at is the sustainability side of it and turning it into a battery powertrain. So we really are moving forward on that side of things here, looking at the fuel methods. And again, are you talking about the boreholes? That could be something that we look at. Is the water suitable? But I don't know if it would need previous testing. So I don't know. It's something to think about as well for the future. But yes, there's definite ideas to move this forward, and Drain Train 3 will happen. I'm confident.
Yeah, and then what they have said to us, these people who are looking at it, they've said we want operators' involvement with this, because normally, and we all know what machines people get. You get what you're given. But they have said to us, what do you want? Where do you want it? How do you want it to work? So they are involving us with the design stage from day one.
Okay, and that might be something too in your longer possessions. Increase the capacity so that you're not, when you run out of water, have to do that 45-minute truck to get more water and come back again. You just keep going, and you've got additional wagons to put on the train. I have another supplementary question about the haulage arrangements. to my mind, just an observation, my own opinion, to use DTSs as for the twin disc gearbox and nothing else seems to me to be a crime, punishable by flogging, I would think, these days. But is there an end game to release the DTSs back to the pond where they should be used as maintenance machines?
Tom, to answer your question, mate, again, it's if they could replace the DTSs with a different type of loco and the work bank was there for the DTSs, then I'd say, yeah, people would rip your hand off because they're all about making money, which we all are. So I've heard nothing in the pipeline that would happen, but I can't see why it wouldn't.
I understand why they're used. DTSs sitting in elephant houses up and down the country. What can we use them for? Oh, we can use them to do this. And we can use the twin disc gearbox and a slow speed control on them to maneuver around about catchwits. Great idea. Do away class 66s and like, that's great. But when I saw those class 20s and I was thinking class 8 locomotives, something small that could haul the beast to site and then maneuver at slow speed, it would be the future. We're thinking that would release the DTSs, which when you look at it, when they first came into this country in 1988, they were cutting edge technology. This was the German state-of-the-art machine that was going to answer the track maintainers' issues and do DTS as design overlift. And then quickly fell out of favour, now only used on renewals as line speed handback machines. And other than that, using them as to power the drain train, great use of an otherwise unused resource. But I think in the greater scheme of things, they should be released back to do the job they were intended to do.
I agree.
Can I jump in here, Jim Watson? Following on Tom's comments, I think it's great that you're actually making use of the DTSs. It's keeping them in the country, whereas the other fleet of DTSs, I think, went abroad or were scrapped. Similarly with the trams and your Drain Train 1, great use of a piece of kit that was actually out there and in future could be used for other things. We talk about sustainability, and this is actually a brilliant example of sustainability. Similarly, you're talking about your Drain Train 3 being hauled with either class 20 locomotives as they stand or class 20s using some kind of bi-mode traction. Absolutely wonderful. This is what the railway needs to see, is reusing existing resources.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, point well made, Tom.
And they're brilliant. These DTSs are brilliant.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Like you know, your 6-inch channel in the tunnels and the 4-inch channels where you've got a flexi hose in the channel and you've got to move the machine very, very slowly. They're fantastic for doing that.
That's what they were built to do. That meter per hour control that you've got in the DTS is
exactly
essential for the purpose it was designed to do.
Yeah.
Yes, just definitely such an advantage having a train-mounted drainage system. When you think in the past of pulling the lorries up to rail bridges and running hoses down over the bridge along the track, and just all the problems associated with that. So,
and they're still doing that to this day, Greg. There's still people doing it like that. I mean, you think, why?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Absolutely, mate. Them days are long gone for us.
Road closures and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But what I would say as well, just jumping in something we never touched on, all the crew who work on the drain train, that'll be the driver and the operators, they all come to the site together because we've got a caboose, what we call it, a caboose, what's locked off, and we all travel together. So there's no waiting for people to get to site and this or other. We all arrive together and we all leave together, which puts our time, pack away time. As I said, we always plan for 15 minutes, but we're in, we set up, and we're away we go. And then it says, we get told, can you start packing away now, lads? We have to, I'm back in half an hour. Yeah, bang, done. Right, come on, let's go. It's as easy as that, mate.
Yeah, ideal. Yeah, yeah.
I had another question on methodology. Do you always start at the low end of the drain run? Common sense says you would.
I always start at the outfall and work away from the outfall.
Aye, can get messy otherwise, I would guess, but I just wondered if you had maybe a different strategy of cleaning it from the top and just how it was done.
No, we usually the plans is start from the outfall and work away.
And is that always identified in advance? So
yeah, it is
you
with the
get
site walk. With the site walk, obviously you do the site walk, and yeah, that's usually planned to start at the outfall. Yeah.
So is the site walk built into the possession plan as a prep shift?
Yeah, I'll do the site walk, or Brian, and we set up the plan. They go to our planners, and then they'll do the plans, and we start at the outfall. Yeah.
Well, you guys will speak to probably Lynda because she's dealing with the ordering of the drain train, etc. So, Lynda, have you got availability on X amount of weeks? Yeah. When are you having a site survey? Yeah. One of our guys will be there. We'll do a survey. We'll come back, say, Lynda, we can do that job. Get it in plan. Let's get it done. And we'll write the plans up there because we have somebody who writes them up for us, which includes all cost briefing, task sheets, and signing on. And also sheets to time what part of the track we're on, mileages, and what pits look like, and then we'll do a detailed report of that because obviously it's just scribbled down. I'm the one that does the resending of the plans. I'll send them back to you guys with any photos we've took and mileages, and tell you what problems you've got or if it's flowing clear. Yeah, so you get a detailed report.
Size of the pipes and a photograph, the condition of the pit before and the condition of the pit after.
Sounds like your machine is key to major projects that have, and I'm thinking projects like the East Kilbride electrification scheme, where in a lot of areas, because of the track gradient, there aren't any positive track drains on the site. But where there are positive track drains, you could be engaged in advance to actually what used to be called rod improve the drain system. You would send men out with rods to find out what was needed to be done as part of the core works. You could send the drain train out and you would be arriving on site forewarned and forearmed and know exactly what you were going to do in terms of where the blockage was, what it was likely to be. Do you get that kind of work? Or is it just maintainer work?
No, we do go into problem areas quite a lot. I think the one, what's the station next to Alexandra Parade up in Glasgow? I forget the name of the place. We went in there and it was severely blocked, and I think there was about 14, 15 pits in there, and we did it in one shift.
Yeah, that was that one shift. I can remember that, Neil.
Remember that? Or was it the other side? Not Duke Street, the one on the other side.
Aye, I think it was the other side. Aye, and we went in there and we did a great job in there. Yeah, cleaned it all out. Basically, it's problem areas we go into, but we've been working with Wessex down in near Southampton quite a lot, and they actually using us for maintenance shifts now, just to keep on top of it. It depends what the customer wants, really, at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
That was a kind of interesting lead there. Talking about maintenance shifts.
Yeah.
Are you finding more and more, if you like, proactive shifts coming in? Yeah, I can appreciate that drainage is an asset that has been neglected for so many years. So much of your work is going to be reactive. We've got a problem. how do we solve it? Is it starting to move the other way? In that you're going in there, you're doing a maintenance shift rather than having to fix problems after they arise.
Yeah, we fixed the problems for a lot of customers down in England, and we'll go back in there probably 6 months later.
Yeah,
and
have a look at it.
Do a maintenance shift, and yeah, it's working great that way.
Jim,
And
to be honest,
takes...
like you, sorry Neil, like you said,
No.
Jim, it's all been it's not been proactive in the past because, as you said, it all got neglected in the past. So people just say, oh, we've got a problem here, we've got a problem here. Now, we are finding that historically, places that have been flooding, before it happens again, they're getting us in to have a look before bad weather comes and rain and all this lot. But it is definitely going that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly good to hear, because they said the old adage, water is the biggest enemy of the track system. And if we can be looking proactively, that's absolutely brilliant.
I notice a difference year in, year out when we're coming up there now. When we're doing our guidelines, I can see a big difference.
I was going to ask you about your annual programme, because I was thinking that 2 machines, soon to be 3 machines, and you're trying to cover the whole of the UK. That's a lot of drains to maintain, even problem areas. Go and find the problem areas and deal with them. So do you have an annual rotating programme where, in February you're in central Scotland, and by the time summer comes, you're somewhere up the West Highland line?
Well, we normally work April to September when we've been up in Scotland for the last few years. That's been their work bank. But we've always said the way we can access the machine in Scotland with the sidings, especially for Brigton, the way and obviously other yards as well, the way we've been able to access the machine, the way we work with the customers there, the interaction we've got with them, we wish we were there all the time. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say it. We wish we were up that part of the world all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if there were a work bank for it, Alpha Beta would have no trouble saying, yeah, that's stopping there because that's income. And that's just the way it is. Drain Train 1 normally does Wessex and Kent and all that area. But we are starting to reach out to more North England areas as well, Carlisle and Crewe and that area. And we're just about getting route knowledge there now. We're just training another couple of drivers up to learn them routes. But it's a cutthroat business, really. Let's not kid ourselves. We all know it is. And if people are guaranteeing you the work, then everybody else has to miss out.
So the areas where you don't have route knowledge, rather than turn down a shift, is it cost effective then to have a conductor driver?
Yeah. We use, especially when we're up in Scotland, it's more Eddie. To be fair, we've got Mick and Mel. I know it's 2 names, but from when we first started up in Scotland, the route knowledge them guys have got now. I think we only used a conductor twice when we were up there last year. Because Mick's old school and he's geeky, and he just likes learning new routes. He loves it. He films everything. He films all his routes and he watches them. He watches them instead of watching telly. I think he's that committed to it. So yeah, we always get route knowledge, and if we do have to get a conductor in, yeah, it's still beneficial for us because the machine's out, and making a bit of money is better than making none.
I was thinking that you wouldn't have very much downtime with the machine at all. Do you have to plan in regular maintenance of the twin discs on the DTS and the like?
We do what we do. We have a 12 and a 6 monthly, which we plan in every year, and that's all set in work plan. So we'll say to the customer, look, if you've got work on this week, can you do it the week before, or do we have to bring our maintenance forward a week? We'll always work around it. We'll never turn work down. We'll always work around it, and the 12 monthly and the 6 monthly do get done because it has to go on what we've got a BAMS system now. If it's not recorded on BAMS, your machine ain't going out to work. So they do get maintained, And as well as the 6 monthly and the 12 monthly, they get a weekly tick sheet done of everything that needs to be done on a weekly basis as well.
Thanks, guys. Good system.
Yeah, well, what it is, Tom, we'll have 4 guys out on the machine working on a night time. I've just take Scotland for an example. And then when the machine comes in around about 5 a.m. in the morning, there's always 3 guys waiting there to do the daily maintenance, replenish the water, get rid of the solids, and do the daily maintenance, any tick sheets. And we also carry strategic spares on the machine as well. New pump, new filters, valves, everything like that, new hoses if it's needed. So just like I say, it carries strategic spares. So we very rarely have a breakdown. And we also got an electrician who works on machines on a daily basis as well.
So they're more operator maintainers than just operators.
Yes, we're a team. They're operator maintainers, and we've got fitters and electricians who are part of that team as well.
Yeah, there's a fitter on nights on every production shift, and there's a fitter on days on every maintenance shift. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, any further questions from anyone?
I've left my contact details up there. If anybody does think of anything, just let me know. Just drop me a line.
Yeah. If you want us, if you want to speak to Lynda, and we'll get ball rolling when we just like being out on site. Like I said, especially if you're neck of the woods. If you need us, you know where we are, and we'll do it.
Excellent.
And he's not just saying that because we're speaking to you in Scotland as well. They do enjoy it.
Oh, I love it up there. I'd live up there if I could.
That's something because you're only here April to September. As you come up in the winter, you might change your mind.
Oh, I've been there in winter. I worked on NTC training winter. I know how bad it is. Don't get me started on that shift I did last year up there. No, Bridge of Orkney. No, don't. Please don't.
I've been down here 30 years now, so I would go back as well. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, great. Okay, before we finish up, I'm just going to pass the meter over to Angus McGregor, who's going to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Greg. So, Jim reminded us that water is the biggest enemy of the track system. Drainage is essential to maintaining our railways, and this is becoming even more critical in the current climate change challenge. We learned today about one way of tackling this challenge and the application of the drain train, which deals with blocked drains and drainage systems in our track system, removing ballast, bricks, silt and compacted sewage, which sounds very attractive and good on you for tackling that challenge. And
as well, Angus.
And not to forget the odd microwave. And I'm sure the microwave wasn't the most unpleasant of things that you've come across in our track drain circumstances.
We were worried what we're in microwave, Angus, I'll tell you.
as I would be, yeah.
Yeah.
The slides, and as we were reminded by Brian, Neil, and Lynda, the slide showed us progress of between 80 and 30 catch pits per shift, but as we were reminded, it really does depend on how frequently our drains have been maintained. And as the questions progressed, we have seen, thankfully, a move to doing more proactive maintenance across the network, as opposed to just dealing with the emergencies. Good to hear that we can remove up to 20,000 litres of waste in each shift in the tanks in the assembly of the train that was presented, and using up to 23,000 litres of water in the jetting. Good to learn about the unique application of the DTS as the principal traction method in drain train 1 and 2 with line speeds of 40 and 60 miles per hour. Really good to hear about the move to investing in Drain Train 3, and we look forward to hearing more details about that in the future. Most importantly for me, the little anecdotes during the question and answers about using all of our senses, not just that this is a drain train, but the skill of the individuals going to work and using all of their senses to locate buried catch pits and possible split pipes. So thank you very much from the Glasgow section to Brian, Neil and Lynda for preparing and presenting this evening, and I hope that you will all unmute your mics and thank them in the usual way, which is to say thank you. And back to you, Greg.
Thanks, Angus. I should have